No regrets. It's become a cliche in America, like it is what it is, or give me your wallet or I'll kill you. Even after a spectacular failure, people want to say, I wouldn't change a thing. Hollywood celebrities say it when they get out of rehab. No regrets, really? What about doing all those drugs? Isn't that why you went to rehab? And President Joe Biden, he was recently asked about his regrets from his time in office. He sure had plenty to choose from. The disastrous pullout from Afghanistan, crushing debt, record inflation, a wide-open border, and South American gangs taking over our cities. He should have more regrets than Jimmy Fallon's stylist. But Joe could think of nothing. That should be the title of Jill's book. But now the Washington Post reports Biden may have one teeny tiny regret, dropping out of the race. Biden and some of his aides still believe he should have stayed in the race despite the rocky debate performance and low poll numbers that prompted Democrats to pressure him to drop out. Biden and these aides have told people in recent days that he could have defeated Trump, according to people familiar with their comments. Well, I guess he could have run if he had just instituted a few rules. For example, all debates get a halftime break for an Ensure IV. Press conferences get cut short for Joe's water aerobics class. And he gets lowered into campaign events by helicopter. And now even the media is chirping about how they blew it when it came to Joe's health. Listen to CBS reporter Jan Crawford when asked about the most underreported story of 2024.
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years.
A little late there. Meanwhile, Democrats continue to struggle to put Biden's term in a good light. Here's former Clinton advisor Karen Finney on CNN.
It was very disturbing to learn late in the year about just how how poor his health has become. And like many, I did not realize that it had gotten to that point. That being said, I think he's still, he showed up for the job. He got the work done. I think some of the accomplishments also in the Middle East and foreign policy will also stand the test of time.
Nothing about Joe Biden will stand the test of time, including standing. But then Scott Jennings hit Finney back with a dose of reality.
Look, I think he's going to leave office in disgrace. The Hunter Biden pardon was disgraceful. He's going to be remembered largely for inflation and for the disastrous Afghanistan pullout. But as we continue to learn about the massive cover-up that went on, not about his health, but about his mental acuity, to cover that up, the efforts that were undertaken by the White House staff, by his family, not in the last couple of months, but for all 4 years, I think it's going to be a really ugly chapter. It's a diminished presidency because of it.
In the end, the past 4 years won't be remembered for Joe Biden, or by Joe Biden for that matter. It will be remembered as that weird time when America's president wasn't in charge, and whoever was running the show can't blame dementia for their endless, stupid mistakes. And getting rid of those people, well, we'll have no regrets about that. Let's welcome tonight's guest. A week later, he's still trying to sit on Santa's lap. Host of the Guy Benson Show, Guy Benson. He doesn't need New Year's to drop the ball. Actor, writer, comedian Jamie Lissow. Even he can't resist heckling his own act. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. And she runs a tab at LensCrafters. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. Okay, so interesting. Guy, Joe Biden thinks if he stayed in the race, he would have won. Or do you think that is possible? Or do you think he would have done any better than Kamala? I mean, we're talking about Pennsylvania, Michigan, states like that Joe won. Could he have pulled it off again?
No, he would have done worse, I think. But The most awkward part of this regrets interview is when he angrily denied that he had gotten out of the race and vowed to defeat George Bush in November. Everyone just sort of winced and moved on. I just want to take issue with something that Jan Crawford said on CBS, and I think actually she's one of the better people left at CBS. I'm one of the more responsible adults, but we've seen this from other journalists as well, sort of this very belated mea culpa. Oh, maybe we should have covered this more. Oh, this was the undercovered story of the year. And I'm like, speak for yourself. We covered this story relentlessly and accurately month after month after month, and they attacked us for being conspiracy theorists and peddling cheap fakes and all this nonsense. I mean, your bit as Biden on this show totally nailed the reality for years.
I feel like I couldn't, after a while, I couldn't keep up, Guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was outpacing me.
Right. Like, you couldn't satirize reality more effectively than it was existing, and we simply observed it. And we were attacked until the moment that the lie couldn't be kept up anymore, which was like 8:20 p.m. or 9:20 p.m. on June 27th during that debate. And then they all flipped instantly from he's fine now and can do this for 4 more years to we've got to get him out.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes. And there is something to call that. There's a word for it, and it is certainly not journalism.
Exactly. Kennedy, I mean, Guy is right. It was covered. She said it was the uncovered story. They covered it endlessly. And when you watch Morning Joe every day, it was a defense of his faculties. And the stuff we saw in that debate, of course, it was no surprise because we were seeing it on the tarmac every day and anytime he tried to answer a question.
Yeah, they covered it like eye bags in the View makeup room with heavy concealer that was applied religiously by the mainstream media. And there were plenty of people who could have drilled down on the story. And, you know, even Jan was like, I can't believe this rag called the Wall Street Journal has been covering this for 4 years. And it's like, yeah, they're not the only ones. And Guy's absolutely right. There were a minority of voices who were looking at this going, you know, something is not right here. Isn't anybody going to do anything about this? And you had Karine Jean-Pierre and you had Vice President Kamala Harris all going, he's amazing. He runs circles around everybody. He's our Usain Bolt. And if you had done any more of a parody of President Biden, you would have had to have been embalmed. Like, that's how far you would have had to have gone, because, like, it was almost like a documentary watching you as Biden for all those years, which we will miss your performance.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to...
A little applause. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Go find me something to do around here. I know. Jamie, my notes say here that ask Jamie, he knows about leaving things in disgrace. I just want you to know I didn't write that. But
Yeah, very true. I know about leaving just a wake of for somebody else to take care of.
And do you think he can leave office with his head held high? He seems to want to be trying to do that.
I haven't seen him hold his head high in about 3.5 years. Physically. He's the first president that physically needed help stepping aside. He was like, I'm going to step aside. It's just my knees. I just think it's crazy that they were covering this. Like, what gave you the hint that maybe Joe was cognitively impaired? Like, from the stairs to get... Remember the other day he just got his ass kicked by sand?
Yeah, it did.
And then there's like early on, there's a video of him just trying to put a suit coat on. He's got like one arm in, and he's just going around, spinning around. I don't know. I remember he was on the Zoom call, and he was hitting escape, hoping a portal would open up. Yeah, remember he did Face the Nation? He was facing the other way. I just think the signs were there, Tom.
It is true. He's done it. Joe, can you blame the media? Are they going to be able to come back from this? They want us to trust them now in their coverage of the Trump administration.
Yeah.
I mean, but does anybody trust them?
No. I would rather trust Joe Biden. And I'm saying don't count him out for 2028. I think he's coming. Because if you listen to him, it goes to show, like, when someone is senile, the arrogance is the last thing to go. Because he's still saying, like, I could have won. And you look at the media, it's hilarious to have a group of reporters sitting around saying, somebody should have covered this. It's like, yeah, you. Yeah. That was your job. It's not like it was a group of chiropractors tasked with reporting on it. You know, and they would have reported, like, if we push on that guy, dust is going to come out of his ass. Like, he's no longer among the living. But What Kenny said about Karine Jean-Pierre, I don't know how they are able to look at themselves in the mirror. Because Karine Jean-Pierre actually said, I have trouble keeping up with him, which tells me she needs to get to urgent care right now, okay? Because
Get tested.
Oh, you can't keep up with Joe Biden. Are you in an iron lung? Do you have Lou Gehrig's disease? Like, what is wrong with you? So the fact that they said, you know, that it was this shocking thing, and like I said, we talked about it, we made fun of it, we brought it up, and they said it was a cheap fake and it was a lie and all this stuff. So it really shows that I don't want to say I have sympathy for Joe Biden, but I don't know if he's the one to blame because he's clearly incapacitated. He always was a crabby old coot. But the rest of these people supposedly had their faculties, and they lied to our faces, and we're not going to believe them anymore.
That's right. It's over. Up next is DEI finally DED.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.